On February 23rd, in Changle District, Fujian Province, large crowds gathered to take part in the traditional folk event known as Shen. As the sound of drums filled the air, a group of police officers carrying shields blocked their path, leading to a standoff. Suddenly, someone in the crowd threw a long string of firecrackers toward the police. As the firecrackers one after another, the drum beats grew louder and more intense. The police gradually retreated, and in the end, the crowd broke through the blockade. Shen is a traditional folk custom in coastal regions of southern China. People carry statues of their deities, walking through the streets in procession. Some even dress up as the gods they worship, creating a striking and colorful spectacle. But the Chinese Communist Party sent a large police force to stop this folk event. Videos of the incident quickly spread online, sparking widespread discussion. Many people left comments like, "This feels like a peasant uprising, and they won." This is the power of faith. When people believe, they're fearless. Exactly. Believe in the gods, not the CCP. People across the country should learn from the farmers in Fujian. Some Chinese internet users criticize the CCP for cracking down on normal folk traditions while neglecting more pressing issues. We must keep this going. No one can stop us. The people must stand united. Next year, every village should join in. Let's see how many officers they can send to stop us. The CCP is constantly testing the limits of the people. Others even chanted slogans that would make the CCP uneasy. They're both sensitive and afraid. The people are the true masters of this country. The battle has begun. On February 8th, in Longchao Village, Guangdong Province, large crowds also gathered to protest the local government's forced cancellation of the annual Shen event. Videos showed rows of police officers standing on guard, while several villagers deliberately saluted and stood at attention in front of them, mocking them. The crowd erupted in applause and cheers, using this as a way to protest against the authorities. The footage also revealed that most of the officers were young, some appearing to be fresh high school graduates. As villagers ridiculed them with salutes, some officers lowered their heads, while others turned away. Deep down, they likely knew that what they were doing was neither honorable nor meaningful. On February 12th, in Lusha Village, Leizhou, Guangdong, another Shen procession was blocked by a large group of special police. The crowd defiantly shouted, "The gods' procession is being blocked by the communist demons." Many online commentators noted that Shen was not widely known across China before. In previous years, it did not attract much attention, but this year was different. With the CCP's harsh crackdown, the tradition has suddenly gained nationwide fame. The fact that the CCP fears even a folk custom like this shows just how fragile they've become. Indeed, this year has already felt drastically different from previous ones. Protests against government oppression have surged across the country. More and more farmers are fighting back, some wielding scythes and hoes, willing to resist to the death, while others have used firecrackers and fireworks to drive away large groups of police. Since February 14th, hundreds of villagers in Qiannan Prefecture, Guizhou, have launched a protest to defend their land. Armed with scythes, hoes, and other farming tools, they regularly patrol the mountainous area behind their village. This 300-acre hillside was secretly sold by Yan Anming, the village committee's deputy director, to Da Debao Mining Company, which has already begun operations. In mid-February, outraged villagers took action, demanding the immediate return of their land. They emphasized that this area is an essential ecological zone for forest conservation, and must not be destroyed or fall into outsiders' hands. This was not just an illegal transaction, but a direct threat to their survival. One villager stated, "The village officials sold our land to a mining company without giving us any compensation or even informing us." To show their determination to defend their homeland at all costs, villagers even signed a life-or-death pact, vowing to resist to the end. Their protest is still ongoing. Online, people reacted strongly. A new wave of peasant uprisings has begun. Chaos is coming soon. People in China, if you have money, stock up on food. When chaos breaks out, that'll be your family's lifeline, not money sitting in the bank, losing value, or mysteriously disappearing. On February 21st, workers at Shenzhen HKC Precision Industry Company Limited staged a mass protest against the company's decision to relocate its factory from Baoyang District, Shenzhen, to Beihai, Guangxi without offering fair compensation. Instead, the company attempted to secretly move factory equipment. That day, workers stormed out of the workshop and blocked the transport trucks carrying the equipment. Public records show that Shenzhen HKC Precision Industry Company Limited was established in 2004. Its legal representative is Zhang Zibo, and the company specializes in mobile communication products, wearable devices, non-metallic product molds, and precision stamping dies. In early February, villagers in Jian, Jiangxi, launched days of protests against Wuxi Mountain Iron Mine Company. opposing its environmental destruction and trying to stop further mining activities. Taiyan Village in Wenju Town, Yongxing County, has a history of over 300 years. However, due to excessive mining by the Wushi Mountain Iron Mine Company, the local environment has been severely damaged. Houses have begun sinking, walls are cracking, and recently, multiple ground collapses have occurred. On February 20th, villagers protesting the damage were violently expelled by mining company personnel. In response, they used bricks and wood to block the mine's entrance and exit. On February 23rd, authorities sent a large police force to suppress the protest, arresting multiple villagers. On February 25th, at Wahaha Group's Chaonan base in Hangzhou, Zhejiang, employees blocked the entrance to protest layoffs without compensation. They were also opposing the company's attempt to replace them with outsourced workers. Their demonstration continued late into the night, and Wahaha Group's chairperson, Zhongfu Li, personally appeared at the scene. Wahaha is one of China's leading beverage giants. Since July last year, the company has repeatedly faced worker protests over forced contract changes and the elimination of the employee stock ownership plan. After the Lunar New Year, reports emerged that more than 10 of Wahaha's factories had shut down, leading to mass layoffs and ultimately this large-scale protest. On February 25th, a violent clash broke out in an open-pit coal mine in Zhengxiong County, Yunnan. It left multiple villagers and mining personnel injured. The conflict arose because the mine had allegedly seized village land illegally and used violence against protesting villagers. According to multiple villagers, the Xingyuan open-pit coal mine, located in Dahuo Village, Huashan Township, began mining operations without their consent. That day, some villagers went to the mining site, demanding that the company stop taking their land. Instead, they were attacked by mine personnel, leaving 3 villagers injured, including an elderly person. Videos recorded by villagers showed several women lying on the muddy ground, seemingly injured during the clash. Another video captured 2 villagers trying to stop an excavator with their bare hands. The operator did not stop, creating a dangerous scene. Enraged, the villagers carried the injured to the mining site to confront the company, but another clash broke out. Both sides used bricks and wooden sticks as weapons. Police were present but did not intervene. According to an online source, 7 mining personnel were hospitalized after the altercation, but the total number of injured villagers remains unclear. On February 24th, dozens of villagers from Beisu Village, Shijiazhuang, Hebei, were on their way to the county government to demand help recovering their bank deposits when they were stopped and suppressed by the police. Several villagers were taken away. On February 22nd, Beisu villagers discovered that they could not withdraw money from hundreds of deposit slips and receipts that they had at Mingsheng Bank, with the total number reaching tens of millions of yuan. According to villagers, these deposit slips were handled by a bank agent named He Yinlian. However, when they went to the bank for answers, staff confirmed that the deposit slips were real, bearing official bank seals and teller stamps. But surprisingly, the account names on the slips were under someone else's name. Even more shocking, the money had already been withdrawn. Villagers were left baffled. How did so many deposit slips leave the bank, and why were slips that should have been collected upon withdrawal still in their possession? Suspecting internal collusion at the bank, they called for a government investigation to help them recover their lost money. On February 17th, homeowners in Dongxing Xingyuan Community, Dengta City, Liaoning, launched a collective protest. They forcibly demolished all property management facilities and successfully drove out the inactive property management company. One online comment read, "All property management companies in China have the same boss, the gangster government." On February 13th, in Xinghubei Community, Yichang, Hubei, the property management company raised the monthly parking fee from 185 yuan to 235 yuan. In response, hundreds of homeowners gathered to protest, using cutting machines to saw off the parking fee barriers on the spot. One online comment remarked, "We're now living in an era where a 50 yuan parking fee increase can push people to rebel." On February 8th, in a mountain village in Kedu Town, Pingtang County, Guizhou, more than 1,000 villagers gathered to protest against the government's forced cremation policy. That day, villagers came together to hold a funeral and a traditional burial. At the same time, they stood guard to prevent the arrival of so-called corpse-snatching teams. In the past, the government had forcibly exhumed bodies and carried out mandatory cremations. Villagers had received information that a team would be entering their village that day. Since 2019, Pingtang County has been enforcing mandatory cremation. However, at the end of last year, farmers in nearby Jingsha County, Bijie City, launched a successful protest, which forced local authorities to revoke the policy and restore burial rights. This victory inspired the villagers in Pingtang. Villagers cited 2 main reasons for their opposition to cremation. reason. The first was the financial burden. Cremation costs, including funeral home services and red envelope payments, were exorbitant and unaffordable for impoverished families. One villager said, "Everything related to cremation is as expensive as gold. These fees are completely unreasonable." The second reason was cultural and religious tradition. In local customs, especially among ethnic groups like the Boye, Miao, and Maonan people, burial is considered essential to ensuring the deceased rests in peace. It's also an expression of respect and filial piety. Many villagers saw cremation as disrespectful to the dead and a betrayal of traditions that have existed for thousands of years. For these indigenous ethnic groups, burial customs play a crucial role in maintaining cultural identity and heritage. Villagers also rejected the government's claim that cremation helps conserve land. One villager questioned, "They say it's to save land, but after all these years, has any land really been saved?" Ultimately, because of the overwhelming number of protesters, the local government canceled the planned corpse-snatching operation that day. On February 14th and 15th, the anti-mandatory cremation movement in Pingtang County, Guizhou, spread to nearby Xiaomipo in Tongzhou Town. In the video, several bespectacled officials initially acted arrogantly and aggressively. However, the villagers stood their ground, arguing back with increasing intensity. Realizing the situation was turning against them, the officials quietly slipped away. Later that night, the villagers celebrated with fireworks. However, not all protests were as resolute. On February 26, financial products issued by Shandong Urban Investment Company defaulted, leaving investors unable to withdraw their money. Desperate, they knelt before company leaders in the office lobby, wailing in distress. Also on February 26th, video surfaced online showing that a rural financial cooperative in Nehe, Heilongjiang, had collapsed, with depositors losing hundreds of millions of yuan. The people in charge had fled, and angry depositors gathered at the Nehe city government, demanding their hard-earned money back. At the scene, some people knelt down, while others threatened to bring a truckload of pesticide to the government building. In the comment section, netizens expressed their frustration. "With people like you spineless cowards who only know how to kneel, those who steal money and the CCP government must be laughing their heads off." Some people pointed out that Chinese farmers have long been the most submissive group, enduring endless injustices. They said, "But why are they daring to resist the government now? Because they have nothing left to lose. They no longer care about living." As for those who still kneel, others suggested it's because they're holding on to something, perhaps the faint hope that the government will help them recover their losses. Even if the chance is slim, they endure humiliation for that one last possibility. This mentality, some argued, is the result of decades of CCP oppression, instilling fear, conducting mass purges, and systematically destroying traditional Chinese values, which has led to a deeply ingrained submissiveness. In true Chinese culture, there's a saying, "A scholar can be killed but not humiliated." Those with genuine faith are fearless, and that is precisely what the CCP fears the most, people who hold onto Chinese cultural heritage and true beliefs. A recent event further highlighted what the CCP fears most. On February 20th, the Shenyun Performing Arts Troupe, which showcases traditional Chinese culture, opened its 12-show run at the Kennedy Center Opera House in Washington, D.C. However, on the same day, the theater received a bomb threat via email, stating that if the performance continued, a bomb allegedly placed inside the venue would be detonated. After more than 3 hours of investigation, police found no explosives, and the evening show proceeded as scheduled. Similar bomb threats have targeted other Shenyun performances, not only in multiple U.S. states but also in France, Italy, the UK, and Poland. At the same time, the New York Times has published a dozen articles smearing Shenyun. Since Shenyun's new season began in December 2024, threats against the troupe have steadily increased, 9 cases in December, 15 in January, and 22 in February so far, totaling 46 incidents. Most of these threat emails were written in Chinese, and among the 130 recorded attempts to disrupt Shenyun performances, many were directly linked to Chinese consulates and embassies. The connection to the CCP is undeniable. After the bomb threat was cleared, one audience member, a U.S. government employee, attended the evening show as planned. They said, "Shenyun's artists are here to spread a message of love, joy, and hope. That's why I won't be intimidated. They're so brave, pushing forward year after year. I must be brave too." Founded in 2006, Shenyun Performing Arts is a classical Chinese dance and music company dedicated to reviving and showcasing 5,000 years of traditional Chinese culture. Every year, the troupe presents entirely new, original performances. This season, many political and business leaders from the US and Europe have attended Shenyun, praising it as a breathtaking representation of authentic Chinese culture. They also pointed out that what the CCP fears most is precisely what is most valuable and precious.